Hello, everyone. It's me, Nigel Seeley. Welcome on back to Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, the tennis betting podcast. Looking at the ATP Tour with my good friend and senior ATP Tour handicapper for Because We Win. It's Sean Calvert. Sean, good morning to you. Yesterday you were fully you were glorious. You had a good day. Your tooth was
By my
done.
standards, yeah.
Yeah, you were feeling very good. Now you've got a new computer. You're looking a lot more clear on the camera. But
that's not necessarily a good thing, by the way. More detail on me. That's questionable.
That's why I haven't upgraded this computer for me. But you said to me before, you're back in. You're not feeling too good again. You
Nah.
a bit of food poisoning. You're not happy.
I don't know if it's food poisoning, but yeah, the old digestive system isn't 100% today. But there we are. We didn't have a great day yesterday either, did we? So that's it, though, isn't it? That's the ups and downs of life in what we do, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, we'll come on to the tennis in a minute. Just making sure you're all right.
I'm fine.
I thought it was a bit weird that you were quite happy yesterday, and then all of a sudden you've
a bit weird. I'm always happy. Happy all the time.
Well, that's debatable. To be fair, I mean, you like to have a moan. You like to have a little moan.
That is true. That is true, but it doesn't mean I'm not happy. I'm generally at my happiest when I'm moaning about stuff. To be honest, that's
that's nice. That's not in a way that's nice, isn't it?
Well,
have a little moan up.
Got a lot to moan about. I should say, not particularly today, but in general. But anyway, let's
do you make a lot of complaints? Do you go on TripAdvisor and stuff like that and make complaints about things if you have bad service? You one of them kind of guys, or not really?
Funnily enough, I got contacted by the the fridge company that sent me that black fridge instead of the white. They keep sending me these emails going, please leave a review, and I emailed them back saying, do you really want me to leave a review, because that's not going to end well for you guys. So, but generally I don't. I can't be bothered most of the time to kind of spend like an hour writing a TripAdvisor review. I don't normally bother with that. No, I just come on here and talk to you lot about it. That's it.
Get off your chest.
Yeah,
we're like therapy for you, aren't we? As well.
It could be described as that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's therapy for some people. My father's a big TripAdvisor man. And he's really he reviews everything, like literally every single restaurant he goes to. He does a TripAdvisor.
I think it's great that people do that.
Nobody follows him. Like he is, like my sister, I think follows him. He has one follower, which is my sister, but he'll probably has put about 1,000 reviews on stuff.
That's good.
When he's
I like
not happy,
people that do that.
But he doesn't. No one follows him. So nobody.
It doesn't matter, does it? Because if you go to that, if you're looking to go to that restaurant and you look at the TripAdvisor review, it doesn't. You would see your dad's comments or whatever. It doesn't matter who follows him. You'd still see what he's got to say. I like it. I'm just too lazy to do it. If I got into it, and because the old people that God bless them, they don't have a lot to do they, with their time?
No,
they have a bit more time on their hands to do that sort of stuff. Obviously, I've got a lot going on. I haven't really got time, but I think it's great that people do it because then you can avoid some of these questionable businesses that are around.
He's one of these guys. He always caps up things when he's angry. The food was terrible. Like the service was awful. Like big caps. Like
from an editorial point of view, I don't like that. But from a helpfulness point of view, I do, because that's showing you how angry he actually is. You're capping things up. That's some anger going on there.
But he also caps up things when he's happy. So he says, like, the food was fantastic.
Oh, that's just as good. You know how he's feeling. That's what you want. Tell him, Mr. Seeley, thank you, and carry on doing it.
No, I can't bear to read any more of his reviews. Anyway, he hasn't given a review on this Game Bet Match, and I want people to give a review on this. Nobody gives us a nice review on it. We need a nice review on it. Anyway, I was talking about.
Does he do betting, your dad? Actually,
he was a bookie.
I mean, now, as opposed
he
to
works at the racetrack, but he's one of them old boys who sort of tells you where the toilets are and where to go for the nearest exit. He wants to go to the racetrack because he wants the buzz of it, but he's too old to do the book. But he still wants to see his friends, so he just.
Casual betting and that. Does he bet?
He's never been a better. He's never been a better. He's always been.
Okay. He's probably never seen the show then, has he?
No. He's an absolute stalker of me on Google. He's Google every time I get a set that can use your computer. He's always googling me and stuff like that. But he wouldn't sit down for 40 minutes because he's got to do a TripAdvisor review, isn't he? He hasn't got the time to watch this. Anyway, that's enough of our TripAdvisor reviews. And I don't even know my dad's DW Seeley. I think find him, give him a follow because he's not.
I might become his second follower.
Find him. I've given up looking at him. But anyway, the tennis last night, as you said, touched on there. We were talking over that with the TripAdvisor stuff because we were talking about the tennis. It wasn't a good night. Obviously, Purcell, that huge gamble continued. We went from -105 down to -142 pre-match, but he got beaten and he got beaten fairly comfortably by Tara Daniel.
Yeah, it was a poor performance from him.
Yeah, the head-to-head obviously was warranted there. And then as well as that performance, Shevchenko, we said there might be a little bit of fatigue, and it looked that way. Back from 28-1 to 8-1. That was the problem, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit self-inflicted, really, with Shevchenko. He should have won that match easy. He had a break point in the final set against Etcheverry to lead 5-1, and then he would have just served it out. But he didn't take it, and it ended up going 7-5. I think that extra sort of half hour, 40 minutes, whatever it was, I think it just put him over the top. But we'll talk about O'Connell in a minute because he's playing great.
Yeah, we're talking about O'Connell. We're talking about the 8 remaining players in Adelaide. We said it was a tough tournament to call at the beginning of the tournament. Now we're down to the last 8. It's equally tough. I mean, it's very, very hard. It's very competitive. If you head to the Bet Rivers website, you'll see the outright markets. I'll give you the draw. The top half of the draw, Tommy Paul plays Draper, Jack Draper, the qualifier, the Brit. Then you have in the second quarter, Musetti plays Bublik, O'Connell plays Korda, Lehecka plays Jarry. So that is the quarterfinal lineup. The outright market as we stand now, Tommy Paul is plus 335, the number 1 seed, the American. Sebastian Korda, another American, he's $4. Jack Draper, the Brit, plus 450. Alexander Bublik, 650. Jarry, 7-1. Mazzetti, 8-1. Lehecka, 8-1. And Christopher O'Connell, 11-1. Very, very competitive, Sean, isn't it? I mean, I find it hard to call the winner at the beginning. I still can't call the winner down to the last 8.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I've just taken the drawers actually off my new fridge, which is just to the left of me now. So I've got that's a bit new storage space now as well, so I can put my drawers there.
You've got a magnet on it. You got the magnet on the drawers.
A magnet? Yeah, I've got a bottle opener on. And I was just it's like a little extra bit of storage space for me down here.
I think I'm going to buy you a fridge magnet from everywhere I go and send it to you. I've still got the bag for your boy, by the way. I forgot that the other day. I've got it for the England when I met the England team.
Oh yeah, you're going to send me that?
I'll send it to you. I just forgot over Christmas, but I'll make sure I'll send it. I'll send some fridge magnets in there as well from various different spots.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, I can
put them on there.
Yeah, we can do that if you want.
So you got the drawer there?
Yeah, I have now. Yeah, sorry, it was on top of my fridge. Yeah, I mean, it's hard, isn't it? It's no easier than it was at the start. I mean, Paul Draper, we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, I would say all 4 of these matches, the quarterfinal matches, they could go either way conceivably, couldn't they? You wouldn't look at any of the 4 favourites in Adelaide in the quarterfinals and think they're a lock.
No,
I wouldn't anyway. I don't know whether you would, but
no.
So I mean, from an outright perspective, we're no clearer now than we were when we started. So yeah, it's not something that I would like to get involved in from an outright betting perspective, to be honest.
There's 2 Americans at the top of the market, plus 335 and $4, and we've got an American as well at the top the market in Auckland, which we'll come on to in a minute. I wanted Bet Rivers to do a market. I'm going to ask him again. I think the top American player men's at the end of the year is a really interesting market. Who will be the top number 1 American at the end of the year?
Shelton, there's plenty of options.
Yeah, Shelton, Fritz, TFO, Tommy Paul, Sebastian Korda. You know, I think it's a really competitive market. That
I think it is. It's not a market I've ever seen on the Bet Rivers website, to be honest, but I would imagine it would be extra as difficult to call that as it is to call this Adelaide draw.
Yeah, they're all doing well, and I think it's going to be very competitive. Go down to the wire. If I was going to have a bet, I think Ben Shelton would be my favourite, but we'll come on to that a little bit later.
It's good for American tennis, though, isn't it? Because let's be honest, they haven't had a slam winner in a very, very long time. Not since Roddick, I don't think.
Well, they've obviously on the women's side, they're doing well with Pekida and Goff sensation there. So it's all good for women's tennis and men's tennis in America. Will it continue though? That's the problem. Let's go to Adelaide where we've got the first match, and it's Sebastian Korda. This match starts at 7:30 p.m. All these matches are today. We're filming this on Wednesday afternoon, so these are Wednesday evening Eastern time. 7:30 is the time you want to be heading to Bet Rivers for Sebastian Korda and Christopher O'Connell. Remember, if you do place a bet on this match, you'll be able to live stream the match on your preferred tablet, your mobile phone, or your computer, whichever one you'll be using, accessible to watch this match. Okay, Korda here is minus 275. Christopher O'Connell, you said he's in good form. He's an overwhelming underdog here, minus 275. The spread is 3.5, minus 107. Korda giving up 3.5, plus 107 is the price for, minus 118, plus 3.5 is for O'Connell. And the total here is 22.5. If you look at the head-to-head, they've met twice before, a long time ago, though, both back in 2020 in Challenger events. Korda won very, very easy in Indian Wells in a Challenger. And Drummondville is where O'Connell won, again, relatively easy in straight sets. So we can really dismiss the head-to-heads there. We're going to look at the form in the last couple of weeks. Hanfmann obviously beat Korda in Adelaide. O'Connell has done really well here. Beat Rinderknech, beat Shevchenko. Didn't do so well in Brisbane, losing the first round to Popperin, but he did push him all the way.
Unlucky that was, yeah. Should have won that, really.
What do you think of this one?
I think he's been playing great, O'Connell. Unfortunately for me, because he obviously beat Shevchenko. I think over games looks the play in this one. Korda's just, he struggled to break serve in recent times. 11 of his last 17 matches that he's played since the US Open have gone to at least 22 and a half total games. And 2 of the 6 that didn't went to 22 total games. So he's got a very, very strong trend of late of going overs. And you can see why. He's only broken serve 17% of the time in those 17 matches, and he's held 87% of the time. So his profile at the moment is of a guy that's holding pretty easily, but not breaking serve often enough. And O'Connell is playing great so far this season. I know he's only played three matches, but he's held serve 92% of the time, winning 80% of first serve points won, and that's some very, very impressive serving indeed by anybody's standards. So if he keeps that up, you would expect Korda to have to go long again. Also, this is scheduled at, I think it's 11 a.m. local time in Adelaide, so conditions should be at the quickest. It's not a night match where some of the players have been complaining about the balls fluffing up and it's slow and a bit more humid. So it should have the daytime sunshine. So I like the over 22 and a half total games here. It's -104 with Bet Rivers.
Yep, -104 over 22 and a half total games. Korda against O'Connell. Will that be going down as an official pick, or is that a lean?
Yeah, I'll take that as the official pick. Yeah.
Official pick, Korda O'Connell. First bet, didn't have to wait long. Head to Bet Rivers website, 7:30 p.m. This will drop. You'll have about 4 or 5 hours to be able to get your bets on and head across there to place that money on the over 22 and a half. Remember, Bet Rivers have 32 different markets available on this match. And if you do place a bet, you can watch and the bet and live stream it by just having an eligible, I think it's a $5 bet you have to have, and you'll be able to watch the match in its entirety. So hopefully we can cash some tickets on the first game, Korda against O'Connell. And the next one is 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. And if you think that one looks like an over game, this one here, Nicolas Jarry against Jiri Lehecka. Jarry is a favourite here at -150. He's 3-0 this year, playing well. He's Chilean, isn't he? Chilean, Jarry.
Jarry's from Chile, yeah.
Chile, yeah. Chile. I thought I had a mind blank before. I said Chilean. I thought, is he? Yeah, he is. Chilean, Nicolas Jarry, -150. Lehecka is +120. The spread here is 1.5. Jarry -1.5 is -114. Lehecka receiving 1.5 start, -110. And the total, as we expect in Jarry matches, is always very high. And on this occasion, it's 23.5. The two have met twice before, again in challenges, again a long time ago, 2021, 1 win apiece. Lehecka won 6-4, 6-4 on clay. And in the Salzburg Challenger, Jarry won 7-6, 6-4. We made a lean, didn't we, on the Jarry match in the last round to go over 23.5, and against Arnaldi, it won comfortably. But 23.5 is a dangerous number, isn't it? Because you do get the tiebreak, and then the 6-4 is a dangerous. You need 2 matches to go. You go 3 matches or a 7-6, 7-5. So it is a tricky number to play on the overs, but it seems to be a consistent overplay when Jarry goes to the court.
Yeah, he's again profile of a very, very strong server and a guy that doesn't return well enough. As you said yesterday, it did cash, didn't it? I said either over 23.5 or over sets, and both of those cash in what was the expected extremely tight encounter between him and Arnaldi. This one's scheduled for 2 p.m. local time as well, so should still be the quickest part of the day as far as conditions are concerned. In the last 12 months at main level on outdoor hard, Jarry's only broken serve 16% of the time. Lehecka slightly better, 17% of the time, but these aren't great returning numbers. And if we look at Jarry, what he tends to play long opening sets. Set 1 has gone over 10.5 games, an astonishing 10 times in his last 13 matches. So huge trend there for Nicolas Jarry matches going overs and over games in the first set. So I think once again, I said yesterday I'd have been happy to play the over 23.5 with Jarry and Arnaldi. I think this is a very, very similar match. I expect it to be similarly closely fought. A lot of big serving, not such great returning. Jarry in the end actually managed to win that match against Arnaldi on his defensive play, which I was quite surprised by. In the start, it went as you would expect, and then it got a few breaks of serve, which you wouldn't normally expect with Jarry, but he managed to show a different side of himself there. But I think you've got to look at either over 23.5 or the over 10.5 in set one in this match. That's where I'd be leaning with this one.
Yeah, there is a danger at 23.5 though. I always worry if 23.5, you get the 7.664. You just need that. Once if you're 23.5, you've got 22.5, you get the 7.6, you think, okay, I've got a 6.4, I've got a great chance of collecting here. But with 23.5, it's just amount of times I've bet 23.5, it's been 7.664. It's a lot of times. So I think the over.
I think the over 10.5 is probably better value. Yeah,
that would be what price is that, Sean?
I think it's about 2.63 off the top of my head.
Let's have a look. So the first set over 10.5 games is set one over 10.5 games. Yeah, plus 185. That does seem definitely the way to go.
Then,
yeah, plus 185. I mean, a tie break in the match. We talked yesterday. 23.5 was the line. There was 2 tie breaks in the match. And the Jarry game, I said when it's 23.5, you should be looking for about minus money because it reflects the 23.5. It's plus.
It was 1.8, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was minus 105. I think it was just. It was minus money or minus 118. Today it's plus 115. So that might be a little bit of consideration as well. Tie break in the match at plus 115.
Yeah, all those bets are perfectly reasonable plays. You know, Jarry, he's a player that you can generally predict what he's going to do. You know, it's very few surprises, but yeah, totals, whichever way you want to play it on the Bet Rivers website is where we'll be looking here.
The totals overs for both 2 matches. No official pick on the second match, Lehecka against Jarry, just the official pick on Sebastian Korda and O'Connell, which is over 22.5. The final match is that night match that you mentioned there. So, the conditions changed slightly in the evening. It's Tommy Paul, the number 1 seed, against Jack Draper. I'm a huge Jack Draper fan. I think if he can stay fit, he's a top 20 player in the world. Big stage of his career now. He's coming into sort of 23 years of age, big sort of time of his life. He needs to stay injury free for a season, and we'll see the best of him. I'm a little bit worried about the conditions. I thought it was an early match. I might have really gone for Draper here to win this match, but he is a minus 120 chance. Now plus 120 chance. Plus 120 is the best price in the land on Jack Draper with any other sports book in the world. Plus 20 is the best price. And I think that's a little bit of value. I'd be interested in what you think here, Sean. He's won his opening 2 matches here against Kekmanovic and Bays. Paul did play well last night against Bolt. But the head-to-head is a 1-0 win for Draper, 6-4, 6-4 in Adelaide, here in this tournament, in Adelaide 2, last year at the round of 16. And for that match, he started as an even money shot. He's plus 120 today. I think the injury concern may be a factor there. The total here, I think if it was earlier in the day, would be a lot into that 23.5 area. It's 22.5, and the over is a favourite at minus 124. I give Draper a chance. I would make a bold prediction here. Sorry, start again. Get it right. Jack Draper will not start at 120 plus 120 at the start of this match. He will be, I think, even money at the top.
Quite possible. I mean, if you're looking at this match on stats, forget everything else, then you would have to make Draper favourite for me. I'm quite surprised that Tommy Paul's as short as about 1.65 for this match. I'm not sure whether the line's moved since. It looks to me, on the basis of what I can see on my screen here, that some firms opened up with Paul as underdog. I don't know whether the lines have moved significantly, but it's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, they played last year here, as you said. Draper was marginal favourite when it was priced up and won 6-4, 6-4. These lines are because Draper's had that really tough match against, I don't know whether people saw it, but a really tough match yesterday against Kekmanovic that went on a very, very long time, and Kekmanovic should have probably won it, really. Ended up being a bit farcical, didn't it? He had the referee out. He thought a net cord had gone under the net and instead of over, and he sort of refused to play for a bit, Kekmanovic. Just talking about him for a second, he's a player that does look like he needs some kind of psychological assistance, the sports therapist kind of stuff, because he has got a very good game, but he mentally, in those sort of situations, he does tend to unravel. I think the lines on this are just because Draper's played that really, really long game, and he's got that very storied history of struggling, hasn't he, physically? Because if you look at the service points won and return points won totals in the last 12 months, it's Draper that leads it. This is on all hard courts, indoor and outdoor hard courts. Tommy Paul's total is 104. Jack Draper's 106, so slight advantage to Draper there. And the service, hold and break total, significant advantage for Draper. Very big total for him, 114. on the whole break totals, and Tommy Paul 107. So if you're looking at pure stats, I would have to agree with you that there is slight value potentially on Draper just on the numbers. Plus, you've got to bear in mind as well, Draper won 87% of his first serve points in this exact matchup on this exact court a year ago against Tommy Paul. So Paul had done nothing really on the Draper serve. But the worry is fatigue, isn't it? Tommy Paul won in just over an hour and 9 minutes, I think it was yesterday, more comfortably than I would have expected actually against Alex Bolt in what was an impressive opening match for him. But the night conditions, as you said, a bit more humid, harder to get that ball firing through the court at night. That's what would put me off Draper. But statistically, I couldn't argue with anyone that wants to back Jack Draper as dog here.
Yeah, plus 120 is the price, and I am certain, I'm certain, change the word to certain, that Jack Draper will start a lot lower in the betting than the current plus 120. So just the lean towards Draper there, no official pick, just one pick in Adelaide, and that's Sebastian Korda O'Connor overs.
Yeah, I would back Draper if I wasn't worried about A, the conditions at night, and B, the fact that he had a very, very long match yesterday. How long was that? In fact, it was 3 hours, wasn't it? Let's have a look. Yeah, 3 hours and 39 minutes.
Yeah.
That's an equivalent of a 5-setter, isn't it? A sort of reasonably quickish average 5-setter. And given that who it is, Jack Draper, that's what would put me off.
That is a concern, and that's put me off. So my staking plan will be heavily reduced after hearing those words of wisdom from our senior handicapper there. Let's move across to Auckland in New Zealand, where we have a tournament going on here where Cam Norrie is the joint favourite alongside Ben Shelton. Let's have a look at the draw. Also through to the quarterfinal stage. Ben Shelton is into the top. He's number 1 seed. He's through to the quarterfinals where he plays Calvert Nigel, the Spaniard, who shocked really, beat Batu, still good, and he also beat Offner in the reaches stage. In that second quarter, we've highlighted this throughout the tournament week. Well, we've got Alexander Muller and Tara Daniel looking for a place in the semi-finals in quarter 2. Artur Fils against Altmaier is quarter 3, and Tabilo and Cam Norrie is quarter 4. The outright market, Cam Norrie and Ben Shelton share favouritism at plus 275. Quite surprised actually that Ben Shelton is an overwhelming favourite there personally. I think because obviously Cam Norrie will have a much tougher semi-final if Fils gets through. So I would have. I thought Shelton would have been favourite here. Artur Fils is $3. Altmaier is 10. Tara Daniel 12. Alexandra Muller is 12. Kabesh Maynard 14, and Tabilo 14 to 1. Is Ben Shelton a bet here at plus 275?
I think he's the most likely winner. So, excuse me. Now, I wouldn't put anybody off backing him. Whether the price is big enough is another question, I suppose. But look at these prices. I've got them written down on the draw here. Some of these guys that have got through to the quarterfinals: 100 to 1 Karbash Baena, 50 to 1 Muller, 50 to 1 Daniel, 80 to 1 Altmaier, 125 to 1 Tabilo. And then you've got Shelton, who was about 5-6 to 1, and Norrie about 5-6 to 1, and Feast, who was about 8 to 1. So you wouldn't have picked a lot of these players to be in these quarterfinals. I mean, whether that suggests that the conditions may be slightly higher bouncing, maybe slightly slower, that could be the case looking at the names on this draw, which wouldn't necessarily help Ben Shelton. Maybe they're thinking that. And obviously Norrie is highly motivated here. I've mentioned before he's made the final a couple of times, and quite frankly, he's choked it a couple of times. Whether that will be the case again, whether he will have learned from those mistakes, I'm not sure. Very tough draws. It looks like it's going to be a Shelton versus either Feast or Norrie final, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's why I think that Shelton's value here at plus 275, because Feast will play Norrie, which will probably be a 50-50 slight favourite Norrie semi-final, and Shelton should get past Kabash Bain. I mean, I can't see him troubling the big serving American there. And then Muller and Daniel, I mean, he's going to be an overwhelming favourite. Then if he gets to the final and he plays either Norrie or Feast, he's the favourite. So if you purely work it out mathematically, Shelton is a bet here at plus 275.
I must admit, I haven't worked it out mathematically, but he's going to be, what is he, about 1 to 4 to beat Karbash Bain or something like that?
Let's do this now. So basically, Karbash Bainer, let me find it for you. It's Auckland, is minus $5.
Well, okay.
So it's 5 on.
1 to 5, yeah.
Muller or Daniel, where he's going to be probably another what,
1 to 4, I would have thought. Yeah.
So he's basically minus $2 to make the final, 1 to 2. Then in the final, he's a slight favourite, say 4 to 5 against either against.
Would be an even money match. Yeah, probably favourite against.
Say it was even money. If even money works out 2 to 1, but I think it'd be a slight favourite. So he's coming in. He's coming out around about price he is plus 275. But it's Feast and Norrie that are wrong, because Norrie will have a pick and match. He's 3 to 1 just to beat the semi-finalist and the final. So they're saying he's a certainty to beat Tabilo, which he's only minus 315. So
I wouldn't say Norwich a certainty to beat anybody.
Well, that's what the odds suggest. 275 is the straight double for him to win the semi-final and just to say he's through to the through to the semis. And same with Feast. Feast is minus 335. I just think on reflection, I think Shelton's a better at plus 275, and I think you can, if you want to hedge, you can hedge it in the final. I can't see him not getting to the final.
I wouldn't put anybody off doing that. He does look by far the most likely to get to the final from the top half, and he would be a reasonable favourite to beat Feast, like a slight favourite to beat Feast, maybe even money against Norrie. So yeah.
Yep. There are 4 quarterfinals. Obviously, the first match starts at 6 p.m. Eastern time. It's Muller against Daniel. Muller is minus 108. Daniel is minus 115. Then we have 7:20. Ben Shelton against Kabash Bano. Ben Shelton is minus $5. Kabash Bano is plus 360. And then the next match at 8:40 p.m. is Tabilo against Norrie. Norrie minus 315. Tabilo plus 240. And the only one we want to talk about here it's on the early hours of Thursday morning Eastern time. So it's 12:30 a.m. It's the night match. It's Arsenal Feast against Daniel Altmaier. Feast is minus 335, very heavy favourite. Altmaier is plus 260. Been good form, Altmaier. If you look at the spread here, you can get Altmaier getting 3.5 start. It's plus 107. Feast giving up 3.5 is minus 137. The total here is 21.5 with a slight favourite for the over. The head-to-head between the two, there's one match they played, and Altmaier won it in Paris and the Masters indoors, and he won it easy, 6-2, 6-4.
Which was there that day,
and it was was it down in the dungeon? Was it down in the dungeon?
I think that was on the centre court. It wasn't in lower dungeons 1 and 2. No, they wouldn't put Arthur Feast down there. Well, I didn't watch much of the match. I'm pretty sure it was on the centre court, which is kind of bit higher bouncing and a bit slower, so that would favour Altmaier. But Feast was exhausted. I think that was the issue.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him play somewhere, and I think he played in Vienna at the end of the year when he was poor as well. I think I saw Altmaier play in Vienna as well. He was
in Hamburg. You might have seen him in Hamburg.
You give me the breakdown of the matches, and I'll tell you where I saw both of these players play, because I can't remember. So give us where's the value?
I definitely saw both of them in Hamburg. I remember that. That's for sure. One of them was on the outside court, one of them was on the centre court. So yeah, as I said, a lot of surprises in Auckland this week, and Altmaier is certainly one of them, isn't he? This is actually only the second time in his career that he's won back-to-back matches on outdoor hard at main level. The other time was when he won a couple of matches against lower-ranked players in Pune, I think it was, a couple of years ago. He says he's feeling, and I quote, awesome at the minute. Daniel Altmaier says obviously his training block in the winter's gone really well. A much improved performance. You wouldn't expect Daniel Altmaier to be a contender to win a sort of reasonable paced outdoor hardcourt tournament. He would have been very low down on my list. But as I said, that maybe the conditions in some way are favouring him, and the other clay courters, Tabilo, Muller, Daniel, they're all generally at their best on sort of slower surfaces. So it's obviously a comfortable pace for these guys. So, but an Altmaier, so far he's held serve 87% of the time so far in Auckland, which is surprising and impressive. Not as impressive as Feast, though, who's held serve 100% of the time, but he has had 2 pretty easy matches. Gasquet, he can't cope with that sort of power and pace these days. And Borges, wasn't it? The second one, Feast beat him pretty. He's another one who can't cope with the ball coming at him at sort of reasonably hard pace. And when Altmaier beat the tired Feast in Paris, he held serve 89% of the time. So given that head to head, I know Feast was tired. Given Altmaier's apparent improvements on hard courts over the recent times, I think the overs is perhaps the play here as well. I mentioned I think at the start of the week that over 22.5 cashes more than 50%, 53% of the time in Auckland. So all things considered, I think this will be slightly harder for Feast than the layers are thinking. if you're having a bet here, I would go with the over 22.5 games. It's just a lean though.
Well, it's actually over 21.5, which is minus 127. You can play over 22.5 and get some plus money. So it's entirely up to you.
That's why I've gone with that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go 21.5 or 22.5. There has been money all day for Artur Fees here, and he's now down to minus 335. Altmaier's a player that hasn't sort of attracted the public's attention. I don't think he's got anything in him to cause an upset here, but we think it could be long. And I've just looked at the record, Sean, and it was both of these players. I saw both these players in Vienna, and they played on centre court at the right venue. Remember, I wanted to go to the other venue. I got the wrong venue.
That was annoying, wasn't it? The venue is miles away.
So the bet that we had, we had a play. I can't remember the play we had, but we had a play, and I wanted to watch it at the other venue. And I went there, and I was on centre court here. And
I think it was Gojo to beat Karatsev, wasn't it?
We won whatever it was. I can't remember what it was.
He won it because Karatsev had just come from the final in Tokyo.
That was it. And
if I remember rightly, it was Gojo. It was underdog at plus money, and he won pretty comfortably, I think.
And instead, I was on centre court, and I watched Medvedev play Fees, and he won 6-4, 6-2. And that was the second game on centre court. And the first game on centre court was Monfils up against Altmaier, and Monfils won 6-4, 6-4. So I saw both these in play in Vienna a few months ago, and both of them were shocking, to be fair. But anyway,
I think Fees is going to win. I mean, I don't, I said yesterday on the show, didn't I, about Felix? Obviously, Altmaier's just beaten Felix, hasn't he? I said yesterday that Felix has got a shocking record in his first main level match of the season. He's now 1-6 win-loss Felix. Anyone that took my lean there on the over, I think I said over 10.5 games in set one, didn't I? That went to 7-6 in the end. So two very good wins. He's beaten Felix Auger-Aliassime. Admittedly, Felix is, not the player we're used to seeing, at the moment. And Giron as well. Those are two you wouldn't have expected him to win either of those two matches, would you? Certainly not on a quickish court away from clay. So I think Fees he should win this, but he's very, very short. Plenty short.
He had every shot in the book, but he seems a bit of a headbanger. He could lose the plot at some stage. He'll give up. But he's quite a cool dude when he comes on with the headphones. He's probably a cool dude.
He's not the finished. He's only 19, I think, isn't he? Yeah, 19. But far from the finished article. Yeah, he should win this match, but I think it's a bit much to be asking him to win it at like 1-4 or whatever he is.
Yeah, very, very short price. Very heavy favourites in action across all the matches in Auckland, and I'm sure that the parlay on the 4 favourites will be very popular, but it's not for us. We were unlucky yesterday. We lost on our official pick yesterday, but if you followed the leans yesterday, you would have had a really good day cashing some tickets. So there's a little bit of snippets of information here. We give you leans as well as official plays. The official plays are always recorded in the figures, but the leans obviously aren't. So it was a good day for the leans yesterday, a bad day for our official pick. Remember, there's a load of content, and the action is really hotting up. The tennis action hots up. The draw for the Australian Open is in the early hours of Friday morning UK time, so late Eastern time on Thursday evening. We hopefully will have an outright show on Friday. If the guys at Bet Rivers have the prices available, we'll have an outright men's outright show. Rory will also give us a women's outright show where we highlight the best value on the tournament winner market. And on Saturday or Sunday over the weekend, we'll give you the best bets on the first round of the Australian Open. So the first major of 2024 is just a few days away now, and this is the place to follow all the action at the Australian Open. You have to follow us on our socials at Because We Win on Twitter and on Instagram. Lots of content going on the Instagram page now. And make sure you get across all of that. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Betting Weekly Studios. Please subscribe. Now, I keep highlighting that. I want you to subscribe. I want you to be involved. I want you, the viewer, to give us your picks, give us your information. Just talk tennis with us. Every comment is responded to. Really get involved in the action there. And finally, you can download the podcast, Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, on your preferred podcast provider. It's available on all of those as well. And remember, if you do place a bet with Bet Rivers, you can bet and watch all your action on the live stream. Any bet you have on the tennis, on the men's tour and the women's tour will be streamed for you live, so you can watch it from the comfort of your own home. Sean, I'm going to leave you at the comfort of your own home now. Hopefully you have no more problems with the fridge over the next couple of days. Hopefully you recover from your food poisoning, and hopefully our leans and our picks cash. So I can see a very happy, smiling Sean Calvert as we head into the first major of 2024.